Last night at Backlash, John Cena finally gave us the long-awaited, earth-shattering, foundation-shaking, epic, landmark announcement. And that was that there's going to be a John Cena Classic. So WWE's solution, or partial solution, to the criticism, to I guess any of the fans' complaints that have been going on over the last several months, is to give us another PLE and another championship. And I think this just really solidifies to me that WWE, moreover, TKO, just doesn't have a fundamental understanding of what professional wrestling is. And maybe they don't want to know. Maybe at their core, seemingly, they want to be an entertainment company. They don't want to be a wrestling company. And they have tried to make the entertainment not about wrestling, when as wrestling fans, we want the wrestling to be the entertainment. That's why the term sports entertainment to me never really made any sense, because the wrestling is the entertainment. And for WWE, or more, again, TKO more specifically, and yes, during the Vince McMahon era too, it happened. But for TKO, it's gone into hyperdrive. Their version of entertainment is comedy, or attempts at comedy, celebrity-endorsed segments, celebrity-endorsed matches, celebrities just appearing at the shows. It's less about wrestling, more about ad blocks. That seems to be something that they have implemented permanently moving forward, are those 4-minute blocks after every goddamn match. And they think we're just going to get used to it. I would encourage everybody to not just get used to it and to push back. You didn't pay $30 a month just to have more ads. But more on track here with the topic of this video, with John Cena's announcement. It very much seems to me, again, they don't understand pro wrestling and what makes pro wrestling great. Because if your solution, or again, a part of the solution, is to implement more PLEs, we don't need more PLEs. WWE has more PLEs than they know what to do with, on top of those Saturday night main events that they plug in. They have removed live events, which I think has been a detriment to fans and talent alike. Another topic for another video. But what they've done is take what is not the problem and made it more of a problem. And I would argue that actually there are too many PLEs. There are too many championships as it is. When you add something, more of something, that inherently means that any of those things that already exists are worth less. Now, with this championship, quote unquote, it's going to be NXT essentially versus current WWE main roster stars. And I understand from a principle standpoint, like, you want to be able to showcase the talent of tomorrow, because the business is built on stars. It will forever and always be built on stars until they just stop doing wrestling and, you know, try to entertain us through something else, which seemingly they are trying to do. But until that point, it will forever and always be about stars and building the next star. And I have no problem with that. But you're not going to get that done through one event. One event is not how you do it. I also would like to have the NXT call-ups be, and actually the matchups between NXT stars and current roster stars, be something that excites you, that you can think about the dream matches of moving forward. Who, oh my God, if so-and-so faced so-and-so. Instead, they're just going to plug it in to a one-night event. And yes, they'll have a tournament that leads into maybe finals for the John Cena Classic, actual PLE. But you're giving away a lot of potential dream matches by forcing it into this one PLE event, which I think is a mistake. On top of that, and this is what makes it worse, two things. One, the championship, and I say that very loosely, the word championship is doing a lot of work here. The championship is going to be akin to the Crown Jewel Championship, where it's one on the night the PLE concludes, and that's it. It vanishes into thin air the rest of the year. Now, things could continue to evolve. It seems like this is a work in progress from the reports I'm reading today. And this, I mean, assuming they don't change this particular element here, They are going to have this championship just appear and disappear in the same night. It could be very much like the Crown Jewel Championship, that it means about as much as the championship I bought off WWEshop.com over here on my shelf. That's about how much it means, because we're all supposed to pretend that this championship, completely fabricated out of thin air, is now the most valuable thing that the company has, or one of the most valuable things. Why? Because John Cena put his name on it. That's why we're supposed to be like, wow, oh my gosh, what a prestigious championship. No, that's not how this works. That's number one, or really number two. Number three, and maybe worst of all, this PLE, as you know, is going to be driven by fan votes. Now you may be thinking, well, that's great. We've done this before. Taboo Tuesday, Cyber Sunday. Well, hold on, because what we did in the past was innovative. It was ahead of its time, I would argue. It was fun. You never knew who was going to face who until the actual event. What the stipulation could be that the fans chose, the special referee that the fans chose, and so on. But this actually gives the fans too much power. And it could be a troll on fans, or it could be WWE TKO's response to the criticism of fans, which is always funny too, because Nick Khan just told us that those who are critical of the product are the minority. They're the vocal minority. Well, pretty funny if we're the vocal minority that you are now responding to that vocal minority by giving us the power to vote. Those of you that, again, directly to the internet wrestling community, which is where I would argue most of TKO execs and wrestlers believe that the toxic fans exist, which again makes no sense too, because everybody that watches WWE has an internet connection. But that's, again, another topic for another video. But you're going to hand these fans out of the vocal minority, quote, all the power. And what this will allow you to do is not just vote on who you want to be in the match or who you want to, what the stipulation should be, but you can actually vote who you want to win. Meaning the person who loses a match could actually still win the championship, rendering the entire PLE fucking useless. That's not what fans are asking for. Fans are not asking to vote and click a button to immediately assign a champion. They're missing the point entirely, and that kind of goes back full circle to the initial point of my video here. The fans are not looking to click a button, at least I don't think most fans are, and be like, no, this should be my champion. This guy, click, 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 click. No. That is not what fans want. Fans want, no, pay attention, TKO. They want great storylines. They want great wrestling, in-ring action, and they want deep characters, relatable deep characters. That's it. Yes, with a dash of comedy thrown in when applicable, but at its core, what makes wrestling great, what wrestling fans really want, are those three things. And now you're going to give us a tournament that the fans may not end up voting for who for a champion that person won the match for. Again, which would override everything that we just saw in the tournament. That's not what we're looking for. It tells you they have a complete disconnect when it comes to the basics of professional wrestling. It's actually a parody of pro wrestling almost. It's an insult to fans. It's almost as if they're telling the fans, hey, we're going to give you our booking. Here's who we're going to have A, B, and C to plan to win and lose matches all the way up to the winner. But if you don't like that, you can just click a couple buttons and override our decision. That's not what fans want. That tells me you don't know what you're doing. That tells me that you don't know what the fans, you're not in touch enough with the fans to know who they would want to win to move forward. And even if you know who they want, perhaps you have a better story behind the scenes that they don't know about that you're going to do with said person. See, it's a complete fumble, I think, by TKO, and we're all supposed to just think it's a good idea because John Cena slapped his name on it. That's not how this works. I'm not more impressed because John Cena was out there. You know how I know that? Take everything John Cena said last night, every word of it, and give it to, say, I don't know, Adam Pearce as an announcement on Raw. Tell me if you'd feel the same way. If everything he said, word for word about the tournament, was said by Adam Pearce and not by John Cena. And would you feel the same way? I'm betting you wouldn't. So they're trying to use some equity that John Cena's name has, and there's a lot of it, to hype up this tournament. And I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot at least and see how this plays out. Like most things, I am. Am I shitting on it a little bit before? Yes, because it's completely illogical. But the other thing that I was going to say about this is that, you know, with this announcement, when WWE uses any of the over-the-top language, like the word epic, earth-shattering, most unpredictable, any of those, disregard those words because they have not delivered on any of them. Every time they've said that about anything over the last several months, it has been nothing short of a disappointment. It has been nothing more than attention. It's been nothing more than just a marketing attempt. And I get it. They're a company, but it has been utterly disappointing every time they use this kind of inflammatory language. And I have found to just ignore when they say those words now because they used to mean something. When we would hear earth-shattering, that kind of thing, it actually would be. You'd have some unbelievable return, some championship match we didn't think we'd get, some dream match, something. Instead, what we've gotten over the last 6 months when they say the words epic or anything akin to that has been anything but. So this is a weird time, and this product is becoming unrecognizable. And I don't want to hear it's progressive. Wrestling progresses. It evolves. It does, just like everything else. But it doesn't need to change what it is at its core. And that's what TKO is attempting to do and has been for a while. They're attempting to redefine what pro wrestling is under their leadership. And they can talk about all the money they're bringing in from media rights. But ultimately, I think this will not be a successful venture when it comes to their long-term vision of trying to transform wrestling into this quasi parody of itself. That will fail. And sure, right now they're making hand over fist money. That's not sustainable. Not with this core audience anyway. They'll have to bring in someone and something totally new demographic wise. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. All right, I'll end it there. I could keep going, but more to talk about tomorrow with AJ Styles getting in on the fans need to essentially shut up and just enjoy the product tagline. We'll talk about that. So stay tuned and follow me everywhere you can find the WWE podcast. See ya.